You were never broken. You were programmed to settle, to doubt, to flinch at the edge of power. They gave you a name, a label, a box, and then they buried your fire under rules that made you forget who you are. But somewhere inside you, that fire never died, and today it remembers. Let me ask you this: who taught you how to believe? Not what to believe, but how. Who taught you how to install a belief into your nervous system so deeply that the world would bend around it? You think belief is something you adopt, but real belief is something you build, something you command, something you burn into your bones until hesitation cannot exist in your world. Napoleon Hill told us about desire, about faith, about persistence, but he never published this one law, the one that changes the rules of the game. You don't get what's true, you get what your identity will allow. This is not about motivation, this is about metamorphosis. You've been trying to improve a version of you that was never meant to last. The old you is not broken, it's just expired, and it's time to let it die. You've lived too long with the virus of maybe. Maybe I'll try. Maybe one day. Maybe next year. But maybe is the language of people who forgot how to command reality. And if you keep speaking that language, you'll keep getting a life that matches it. Let me tell you something the world won't. You don't need another tactic. You don't need another trick. You need a new standard of being. Because until you change your identity, you'll keep sabotaging your destiny. You'll keep building momentum and then pulling the plug. You'll keep rising and crashing. You'll keep choosing the old script. Because that's what feels safe, even if it's killing your greatness quietly. So I'll ask again, who are you without your excuses? Not the version that blends in, not the one that makes others comfortable. I mean the raw, untamed, non-negotiable version of you. The one that doesn't ask for permission to be legendary. That version doesn't wait for belief. It installs it. That version doesn't question whether it's possible. It moves like it's already done. They trained you to think you're a product of circumstance, but you are a cause, a force, a trigger for transformation. You are not meant to manage your potential. You are meant to unleash it, unapologetically, completely. Now, listen closely. There's a point where a man becomes untouchable, not because of his wealth, not because of his fame, but because of his beliefs. You can steal his money, you can doubt his plan, but you cannot touch the man who decided who he is. That man is free. That man is inevitable. That man does not flinch when the world tests him, because his identity is not negotiable. This is what Hill hinted at, that your subconscious is the operating system. And the most dangerous lie they ever sold you was this: change your actions and you'll change your life. No, change your identity, and the actions will automate themselves, because identity drives behavior, and your behavior is just a symptom of who you believe you are. So I'll break it down. You don't have a motivation problem. You have an identity conflict. Your habits don't align with your highest vision, because your self-image is still wearing the clothes of a scared version of you, and it's time to burn that image, publicly, permanently. This is not a glow-up. This is a rebirth. Repeat this. I no longer negotiate with weakness. I no longer identify with who I used to be. I no longer fit in the old box. Say it again, louder, firmer, with power in your voice. Because this is not poetry. This is reprogramming. You've been trying to fit belief into your old life, but real belief destroys the old life. It doesn't politely ask your habits to improve. It declares war on your limitations, and until you fight that war, you will keep recycling your pain. You will keep chasing confidence instead of installing certainty. You can't fake this. You can't tiptoe into power. Power demands identity alignment. You either are or you're not, and today you decide. Because the old version of you, he was built on survival. He was trained to stay small. He was rewarded for playing nice. But the new you, he's built on standards, on decision, on belief so violent, it scares mediocrity to death. So this is your reset. This is the end of hesitation, the death of doubt, and the beginning of a new code. I don't wait to believe. I decide what's true. I install it. I move in it. I don't explain it. Say it again. Say it until your voice cracks. Say it until your body believes it. Say it until the old version of you can't survive the frequency anymore. This is not mindset. This is identity construction. This is not motivation. This is mental engineering. And from this moment forward, you speak in certainty. You act in certainty. You breathe in certainty. Because the one law Napoleon Hill never published was this: the mind becomes what it decides it already is. Say that out loud and move like it's done. Your subconscious doesn't care what's true. It listens to what's repeated. Truth is not the compass of your mind. Repetition is. If you say "I'm not ready" enough times, your subconscious will believe it, and then it will build your reality around it. Not because it's real, but because it was repeated. This is the law they never taught you in school. Not in business, not in relationships, not in religion, but Napoleon Hill hinted at it. Every line he wrote was trying to say this: you don't become what you wish, you become what you install. This is the law of mental command. You are not here to observe reality, you're here to speak it into alignment. Not once, not twice, but so many times your mind has no choice but to obey. Because when something is repeated, the subconscious takes it as law. Let me say that again. Your subconscious cannot reject repetition. It records it, and then it executes it. So if you've been telling yourself, "I'm not disciplined, I'm always behind, I'm not like those high performers," then guess what? Your subconscious will design your entire nervous system to match those lines. It'll sabotage your habits. It'll drain your energy. It'll keep you stuck, not because it hates you, because it thinks that's what you want. Hill studied Edison, Ford, Schwab, Carnegie. He sat with them. He decoded them. And the pattern was always the same. They spoke who they were before it was visible, and they never stopped saying it. Edison didn't say, "I hope I become an inventor." He called himself one before the world agreed, before the first success, before the light bulb. He became the identity before the result showed up, because the result doesn't create the belief. The belief creates the result. Ford didn't wait to be rich to act like a titan. He walked with certainty before the money came. He wasn't rich and then confident. He was confident and then rich, because his subconscious had already accepted the command. That's the secret. You don't rise to what you want. You fall to what you repeat. So here's the process. Listen carefully. Pick the identity. Decide who you are before evidence supports it. I am a relentless builder. I execute with calm power. I dominate my day because it's who I am. Repeat it daily. Not once. Not when it's easy. Every day. Out loud. With certainty. With tone. With conviction. Embedded emotionally. Don't just say the words. Feel them. Feel the blood heat up. Feel the certainty rise. Make your body believe you. Refuse contradiction. Don't say one thing in the morning and contradict it at night. Lock it in. Protect the line. This is auto-suggestion, not wishful thinking. Neural engraving. When Hill talked about it, he wasn't just talking about words. He was talking about commands to your subconscious operator. Your inner engineer, the part of you that controls your actions without asking permission. You've been trying to work harder, without upgrading your mental code. And that's why you relapse. Why you start strong, then fade. Why your results fluctuate like a storm. Because your subconscious is still running on the old script, and you've never updated the core command line. You cannot serve two identities. One must die. You can't build with one hand and retreat with the other. You can't chase greatness while holding on to safety. You either burn the bridge or you'll walk back across it when pressure hits. This is the law of no fallback, the unpublished law, the one nobody says out loud because it's violent to your comfort. But listen closely. Comfort is the deathbed of destiny. You don't fall off the path, you walk off it. Because the old identity was still alive, whispering, "You can always start over. You can go back if this doesn't work. You've got time." No, you don't have time. You have now. And anything that gives you a back door kills your momentum silently. Napoleon Hill watched men become legends, but every single one of them had this moment, the point of no return. Edison didn't say, "I'll try 10 times, then quit." He tried 10,000. because failure wasn't real to him. The bridge was already burned. Ford was laughed out of meetings, told he was insane, but he cut off the return path. He bet the factory on a vision no one believed in, except him. That's not stubbornness. That's sacred commitment. Charles Schwab didn't just manage people. He led a revolution in steel, not because he had the best plan, but because he refused to flinch. He said it clearly. I would rather make a bad decision with full conviction than hesitate in fear. That's the edge. That's the law. Decide. Commit. Burn the exit. You're not stuck. You're split. Part of you is ready, but another part is still holding on to the option to quit. And that option is what's draining your power. There is no elite performance without identity death. The old you must not survive, and the fastest way to kill it is to cut off the escape. You don't need more motivation. You need more decisions you can't undo, not preferences. Declarations. Say it loud. I've already decided, not I'm trying to be more disciplined. No, I am disciplined, and there's no version of me that isn't. Not I'm hoping this business works. No, I am the builder. I am the brand. I am the engine behind this. This isn't about goals. It's about becoming unrecognizable to your past self. Because until your past self can't recognize you, you're still too close to who you used to be. And who you used to be cannot walk into the next level. So here's the shift. You eliminate the plan B. You starve it. You cut the emotional umbilical cord to your fallback plan. There's no safety net, because that forces your instincts to rise. This is how warriors trained. This is how kingdoms were taken. This is how legends were born. They made it impossible to go back, so they only moved forward. Burning the bridge is not reckless. It's required, because as long as your mind can retreat, your execution will be tentative, and tentative action is invisible in the marketplace. Do you want people to feel your presence? Do you want your habits to drip with power and permanence? Then stop treating your identity like a test. This is not a trial version. You've already chosen. Act like it. Say it again. I've already decided. This is your loop now. Say it until it becomes your nervous system, until there's no second voice, until hesitation feels foreign. You've got to lock yourself into a corner so tight that only forward exists. No more bouncing between versions of you. The high performer you, the lazy you, the ambitious you, the distracted you. Kill the double life. One must dominate. One must vanish. You don't need more tools. You need more finality. Write the decision. Speak the decision. Feel the decision. Then act like it's already irreversible. If you're waiting for proof, you've already lost. Decide first. Let reality catch up. Burning the bridge is the beginning of mastery, because when there's no going back, all of you is available now. And that's what most people never taste, full availability of power. No divided focus, no lingering doubts, just absolute direction and ruthless clarity. So if you've been hesitating, if you've been negotiating with old versions of yourself, end the conversation, draw the line, burn the bridge, lock the new you in place, and say it. I've already decided. There is no version of me that quits. I don't go back. I build forward. Say it now. Say it again. Say it until your bones believe it. I've already decided. You become like the people you talk to daily. You reflect the energy of the room you stand in, and you mirror the mindset of the voices you allow in your atmosphere. So ask yourself this: who's in the room with you? Mentally, emotionally, digitally. Because proximity isn't just about presence, it's about permission. Your environment is not neutral. It's either pulling you forward or dragging you back into patterns you've already outgrown. There is no in-between. Napoleon Hill didn't write success into a vacuum. He decoded it from proximity to power. He sat with Carnegie, studied Ford, listened to Schwab, and what he discovered was simple. Environment rewires identity faster than willpower ever could. You don't rise to your dreams. You rise to your circle. Look around. Does your circle sharpen you, challenge you, call you to your higher self? Or does it confirm your fears and comfort your stagnation? Let's be clear. You can outwork a bad mindset, but you cannot outwork a weak atmosphere. because your subconscious listens to the rhythm of your surroundings. And if your atmosphere says, take it easy, don't be too intense, be realistic, then even your ambition starts to apologize for existing. Your environment isn't just a background, it's the coding language of your subconscious. This is why Napoleon Hill introduced the mastermind principle, not as a nice to have, but as a requirement for greatness. He said, when two or more minds come together in harmony, a third invisible, intangible force is created. That force. It's not magic, it's identity contagion. You start becoming the average of the dominant energy in the room. So the question is, what force are you connected to? Whose language are you absorbing? Whose expectations are shaping your standard? Because if you're the most disciplined, most focused person in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. You need minds that make your current habits look like child's play. You need voices that offend your laziness. You need friends who correct your potential, not compliment your excuses. This is the mastermind circle, not a group chat, not a vibe tribe, not people who get you. You don't need people who get you. You need people who elevate you. Your subconscious will always seek to match the dominant emotional frequency of your environment. So if your room is filled with scarcity, blame, distraction, you're programming yourself for collapse. But if your room is filled with vision, execution, excellence, you're programming yourself for legacy. Let's make this brutal and clear. You will never outperform the atmosphere you tolerate. Want to change your future? Don't start with your goals. Start with your circle. Audit it. Cut what drains, pull in what drives, and declare it. I do not allow weak energy in my atmosphere. Say it again. Say it with precision, because this one law will change everything. Environment beats intention. Your habits are not just personal, they're communal. Even your silence is influenced. Even your self-talk is borrowed. You think you're self-made? Look deeper. Your environment made. And what you allow around you becomes what you allow within you. You'll never build a castle with peasant conversations. You'll never build a kingdom with distracted kings. Get around warriors, builders, people who don't need to be reminded, people who move without applause, people who bleed excellence and don't brag about it. This is how you rewire your mind. You walk into rooms that demand your evolution, not just physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, because you don't attract what you want. You attract what you allow. The mastermind law isn't just about getting around successful people. It's about forcing a new identity to emerge by placing yourself where mediocrity dies. You'll notice something strange. Once you clean your environment, people will say you've changed. And they're right, because you were supposed to. They'll say you're too focused now, too intense, too different. Good. Let them feel that difference. Let them misinterpret your transformation, because you didn't evolve to be understood. You evolved to become undeniable. So let's lock it in. Right here, right now. You are the gatekeeper of your mind, the bouncer of your energy, the architect of your inner circle. You will no longer allow complaints, excuses, comparison, gossip, low-frequency distractions. Not in your group, not in your feed, not in your future. Say it loud. I do not allow weak energy in my atmosphere. I do not apologize for protecting my mind. I do not shrink to fit rooms I've outgrown. You are building an empire, and that requires atmospheric discipline. Guard it, audit it, refine it, and move like your energy is worth millions, because it is. Most people wait to be asked. They wait for direction, wait for recognition, wait for a reason to go beyond. That's why they stay average. But the top 1%, they don't wait. They deliver more than expected before anyone even knows what to expect. Let me give it to you straight. You're not rewarded by what's fair. You're rewarded by what's unreasonable. Over-delivery is not just a habit, it's an identity. Napoleon Hill studied men who bent the rules of reality. He noticed something they all had in common. They didn't just complete the job. They redefined the standard. Charles Schwab didn't rise because he followed instructions. He rose because he made himself indispensable. He gave more than he was paid for. So eventually he got paid more than anyone else. This is the law no one talks about. When you exceed expectations without being asked, you change your category. You stop being seen as replaceable. You become essential. Most people operate on this equation: do as little as I can get away with to get paid. But the greats, they flip it. Deliver more than I'm paid for, so I'll be paid more than they thought possible. Andrew Carnegie said, "Put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket." You know what he meant? He meant go deep, not wide. Commit, obsess. Deliver so much value in one direction that people can't ignore your existence. Over-delivery isn't about overworking. It's about overcommitting to excellence. It's the difference between someone who meets a quota and someone who reprograms the expectations of everyone around them. If they ask for 5 ideas, bring 20. If they expect silence, bring clarity. If they want results, bring revolution. Not because they demand it, but because you decided, this is who I am now. That's the real law. You become legendary not when you're asked to do more, but when you choose to give more than anyone ever thought to request. Identity-based over-delivery means this: you give not to impress. You give because you can't imagine doing anything less. It's in your code now. Ask yourself, what if over-delivery wasn't your tactic, but your truth? What if giving your best every time wasn't effort, but instinct? That's the identity shift. You don't ask what they deserve. You ask what excellence demands. Because when you install this law, you no longer fear competition. You become the category. No one's outworking you. No one's outlasting you. No one's outgiving you. And when people ask what your strategy is, you smile and say, I exceed expectations because it's who I am. Napoleon Hill saw this in Ford. The man didn't just build cars, he built a movement. He didn't wait for industry standards. He set them. That's over-delivery. When the world tells you to slow down and you double your output, not for applause, but for alignment. You're not here to do just enough. You're here to build a name that echoes. And that means you'll go further, harder, deeper, wider. Not because anyone told you to, but because you've locked in a new identity. You are a giver, not a taker, not a matcher, a multiplier. You bring excellence into every room you enter, every call, every meeting, every action, because that's your standard now. Let me ask you, how do you show up when no one's watching? How do you deliver when no one's measuring? That's the real test. Your name will never carry weight until your output becomes a reflection of your inner standard, not your outer circumstances. Detach from the outcome, anchor into the identity. Detach from validation, anchor into contribution. This is the new code. I give more than expected. I exceed what's required. I raise the bar by walking in, and yes, you'll feel tired, but it's not burnout, it's breakthrough. You're not running on fumes. You're running on fire. You're no longer fueled by reward. You're fueled by reputation. Not reputation in their eyes. Reputation in your own soul. Because here's the real game. You're not just stacking wins. You're stacking identity evidence. Each time you over-deliver, you cast another vote for your future self. Each time you give beyond what's asked, you solidify your position as the unstoppable one. So from now on, you're not showing up for applause. You're not showing up for permission. You're showing up for legacy. And legacy is built in the dark, with unseen efforts, with untracked hours, with a fire no one else understands. Repeat this every morning. I exceed expectations because it's who I am. Say it until it's encoded in your spine. Say it until average feels unnatural. Say it until your presence becomes pressure. You are the answer. You are the difference. You are the shift they didn't see coming. So act like it. Deliver like it. Move like it. And when they try to figure out why you're rising faster, don't say a word. Just smile. And over-deliver again. The mind forgets. The world distracts. But the subconscious, it never stops listening. And what it hears the most, it becomes. Repetition isn't boring. It's how gods are built. It's how warriors program instinct. It's how legends are coded in silence. Say it again. I don't need motivation. I need repetition. Say it until it echoes louder than your fears. Because here's the final lock-in. The one law Napoleon Hill never published is that greatness isn't written, it's repeated into existence. You want to transform your identity? Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for the right moment. Build rituals. Speak affirmations. Move with belief. Every single day, the mind is not moved by logic. It is moved by pattern, and the pattern you practice becomes the future you live. Faith without ritual is fantasy. Belief without action is fiction. Identity without repetition is dust in the wind. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But he left out something critical. It must also be repeated, daily, obsessively, with no exit clause. So here's your ritual. You rise, you speak, you move like it's already yours. Not because the world said so, but because you decided. You want to know how the greatest reshaped the world? They acted before the world believed. They walked before the path was clear. They declared victory while others were waiting for proof. Ford didn't wait. Edison didn't ask. Carnegie didn't negotiate with doubt. They moved as if, and that as if became as is. So from now on, you don't say someday. You don't say I hope. You say it's done. It's mine. I am. Repetition is not childish. It's divine. It's how reality bends to your voice. I am disciplined. I am relentless. I am built for more. Say it until the room shifts. Say it until your actions obey your voice. Let others think you're obsessed. Let others mock your affirmations. They'll laugh now, but they'll study you later. Because the truth is this, the loudest voices in the world were once whispers in someone's mind. Repeated, rehearsed, reinforced. This is not motivation. This is identity installation. Every step you take in faith locks in the new software. Every action without proof etches the new self-image, the old you. That was an echo. This new you. This is a decision, not a reaction, not a trend, a choice, a command, a ritual. You repeat it until doubt gets bored. You walk like it's yours until resistance forgets your name. You act before evidence. You give before applause. You rise before the world notices. Because you're not waiting for the world to clap. You're here to build a world that cannot ignore you. Every affirmation you speak is a brick. Every decision you act on is a nail. Every step without certainty is cement in your new foundation. Say it again. I don't hesitate. I decide. I don't chase. I attract by identity. I don't ask. I move like I already own it. The enemy of transformation isn't fear, it's hesitation. The killer of belief isn't doubt, it's delay. The subconscious doesn't wait, so neither do you. You lock in by ritual. You don't need more goals. You need more repetitions of your new self. So build your daily loop, the words you say, the actions you take, the environment you clean, the thoughts you reject, the identity you rehearse. This is the new way. I act like it's done. I move like it's mine. I walk like I carry the crown. Because your subconscious isn't asking if it's real. It's asking if it's repeated. Let them guess what changed. Let them ask what happened. You owe them no explanation. You don't need to explain the storm. You are the storm. Remember, every day is a vote. Every repetition is a reinforcement. Every ritual is a reset. You are not hoping. You are installing. You are not trying. You are becoming. You are not reaching. You are embodying. You are done waiting. You are done hesitating. You are done explaining. Say it one last time. I don't hesitate. I build. I become. I don't look back. I lock in. I act like it's done. I walk like it's mine. Let the world wonder what changed. Let the whispers grow behind your back. You don't owe them answers. You are the answer.